So let's dive straight into this one, ladies and gents. We got a BMW Z4 that we're going to be doing some paintwork on. So what we're doing is we got a black, I believe it's 475 BMW colour code, and we're going to be painting the quarter. The door is kind of like there's a repair on the top section, so we're colouring that, blending kind of into the door, and we're doing the full front bumper. So the gun that we're going to be using today is actually the Iwata W300, and this is a 1.0 setup, and just as you would have seen, I'm spraying this at 1.2 bar. Now this is more like a medium sized gun. It's not a mini jet, but it's not a full size gun. So I actually made a claim a little while back that I don't actually need my full size guns anymore. So I'm kind of possibly in a bit of a transitional sort of period into what I'll be using and making work going forward. So what I'm finding is that these especially these guns in particular, the overspray is so minimal. They lay down the colours really well, and I can actually base up at 1.2 bar, which is really good in terms of using compressor air and things like that. So if you guys are possibly don't have a brilliant compressor, or it doesn't put out that much air, certainly look at these guns, because these are absolutely fantastic. So I've been playing about with these and comparing to some of my other guns and what I have, and in all honesty, I absolutely love these. I'm not gonna lie, these are absolutely they're frightening, to be honest. The paint consumption is unreal. I think, if I remember rightly, I put this on my Instagram, and I think I used like 140 mils of base coat. So basically this is solvent paint that I'm spraying. So with 140 mils of actual colour, you then have to, it's a mix of 1-to-1. So I then mix that with a thinner, which gives me so it'll give me 280 mils of paint, of actual paint to spray. So to do pretty much a full quarter panel on this Z4, we're doing that blend into the door, we're painting kind of that top section, and a full front bumper with 280 mils of paint is absolutely phenomenal. It's just unreal, to be honest. I would use probably 400 mil just on the bumper if I was using a full size gun. So paint savings is just I can't really explain it too much, apart from it's unreal. I've never known anything like it. So I don't know how Iwata have managed to do that, but credit where credit's due. I've done it, and it, right before your eyes, it's being done. So I just want to say that the actual gun being used is blinding. I'm really happy with it, and going back to my original statement that I think I've probably made to all of the Instagram followers that I have, is that I probably will not be using my full size guns that much or that often anymore, and you'll see, so basically I have two of these. So I have a 1.0 for base coat, and I have a 1.2 for clear coat. Now I actually chose to use a full size gun for clear coat on this, and again it's more I'm still playing, comparing, and things like that. So like I say, in a bit of a transitional period, and this is, you'll kind of see when we get to the clear coat stage of possibly why I'm looking at just using these kind of midi sized guns. But is what it is. You may say that this is not for you, these guns are not for you, or whatever, but all I'm saying is that it can be done. It is being done. You know, and these particular guns are fantastic. So this was a bit of a quick tidy up on this particular car. There's a few dents in the rear quarter, and a couple of little dents in that top section. So you know, that was really the main reason for doing that. The front bumper was flaking everywhere, so we ended up just kind of sanding the whole bumper, priming the whole bumper, and painting the whole bumper off the car. And on these particular cars, the bumper doesn't take too long to get off, so it just made sense to take the bumper off the car, strip it right down. You know, for something that doesn't take too long, it just seemed worthwhile doing, just to really make that job a little bit nicer and a little bit better. So that's pretty much it. There is a bit of a issue that we have in this particular vehicle, which you'll see now. This part probably isn't the issue, but we had a few little bits of dirt in the job that I wasn't too happy with just leaving. So what this is actually a 600 grit pad. It's like a soft foam pad that you can just kind of rub over the areas or pieces of dirt that are possibly in the job, and obviously that will just smoothen it right out, and then you just rebase over these areas. So these pads are absolutely fantastic. I really do like them. So yeah, kind of they're just ideal. I mean, I use the 600 pad for kind of prepping the primer areas where we're going to be basing, and then we also have the 1000 grit pads for our blend panels, where you can actually just clear coat over the 1000 pads. So as you can see, I'm just kind of blowing these areas off, and obviously retacking. So the tacking just what happens is sometimes you'll get dirt and dust attracted to the jobs, and the tack cloth ideally is designed to remove them from the surface of whatever you're painting. So it's always, some people will do that particular step every time that they base up. So for every coat of paint that they'll put on, sometimes they'll just tack every coat, which, you know, you can do. It's not an issue. My thing that I kind of learnt off of a bit of an older guy actually was, if it looks good, just don't touch it. You know, if you've got no reason to touch it, because every time you actually touch the surface of something, you possibly create your own problems, and you can possibly be putting what they call static onto the panel and into the panel. So we don't actually have a stack gun here. So we demoed one a little while back, just before Corona kind of really hit, but it's a bit of a longer deal that we had to get into to have one. So we kind of held fire on it for now. Will it be something that we get in the future? Possibly. It's definitely well worth having. If you don't have one, I would definitely recommend them, because they are absolutely blinding. But for now, you know, we don't really need one. I'm not going to say it's a luxury item, because I would say that any paint shop should have one. You know, they are a great addition to your methods, really. But, you know, is it necessarily to have one? You know, you don't have to have one. You can still pull out a really nice job without one. So what we're doing here, we've based up them areas that we kind of lightly sanded. Now this is more of kind of like a half coat, really, of just base, just going over everything else. Really just using up the base coat, really, because I didn't have too much left. So that was really that. And what you'll see is we go onto a full size gun for clear coat. Now the full size gun for clear, I haven't used it in a long time. But again, where I'm stepping away really from the full size guns, I just wanted to, you know, I'm playing about to see what I want to keep in my gun collection, and if I'm gonna kind of move on any other guns or anything like that. but the actual gun that I decided to use for this job is more of a, I actually use it more so for clear, for base coat as well, sorry. So it was more of a base coat gun as well. So it isn't really set up for clear coat. And this just, in all honesty, goes to show that, you know, it can work. So we're going to use this is the Iwata W400 WBX in a 1.3 setup. Now you'll see the first thing probably that you'll notice on this particular gun is the fan pattern is absolutely huge on this thing. Now I'll be totally honest, I don't particularly like that about spray guns. You know, it's a big thing with Iwata that, you know, a lot of their guns have massive fans, and I don't know why. It's probably just because I'm not used to it. If I probably pick this gun up for, you know, a month or so, I'd probably end up just getting to like it and getting to enjoy it. But I never really have done. I always turn that fan in and just dial that in a bit. But, you know, it's very personal preference when it comes to spray guns. But I mean, you can see that fan is just absolutely huge. You know, so it depends what you do. I mean, me in this particular setup, you can probably understand that this is not ideal for me where I am, and you can really notice the overspray compared to the minigun that I just used for base coat. You know, there's a lot more overspray, and unfortunately that's what you get with the bigger guns. So again, you can see me, I'm just dialing that fan a little bit more again. So like I say, this was really mainly a base coat gun, and I actually use it for wet and wet as well. So it's not particularly set up for clear coat, but like I say, I am playing about experimenting with different guns at the moment to see what's staying, what's going to be going, and I am changing my gun collection. I've actually bought three Iwatas I've bought in the past 5 weeks, and I actually won one in a football competition. Funny enough, one of the paint companies, well, just a supplier really, was doing a fantasy football tournament, and somehow, I don't know how, but I ended up winning myself a spray gun, which I actually got another Iwata. Funny enough, I actually had a demo on a particular gun, the LPH 80. I actually had the demo on from my local rep actually on the day that they told me that I'd won a spray gun. So I thought, oh, what do I get? Do I get something with, you know, extreme value that I probably don't need? And I just thought, you know what, I had the demo on this gun for a reason. You know, it's the one gun that I need, that I don't have in my collection just yet. So it just made sense to get one that I'm actually going to use, rather than just go for something with a higher value or something like that. So really happy with what I went for, and no doubt at some point you'll see it. But you know, for me to kind of move on to these guns is it's been interesting, because they're really delivering on what I need and what I'm actually after. So you'll also, I'll talk about at the end, there's a clip at the end of this video where the bumper actually didn't go to plan. I actually had a fly land in the first coat of clear, but you'll also see some photos at the end of, you know, you don't give up, just keep going with it. And the photos at the end weren't, you know, they're not perfect, because I still had to sand and polish the rest of the bumper anyway. So it was more just to quickly show you that the imperfection there could be fixed. You know, no real issues. Got there in the end. I didn't have to redo the bumper at all. But you know, the one thing I like about this gun is you can really lay that clear on. So you know, I do like this gun for clear, and I've had some absolutely amazing results with it. So this gun can do everything extremely well, and I have to say is one of them that will probably always be in my collection, because it's just a fantastic gun. It does base, clear, 2K direct gloss, you know, you name it, this thing does it extremely well. So it's definitely a really quality gun. And you can probably notice actually the bumper I've turned and laid it down now, and the main reason for that is where this gun isn't necessarily set up for clear. I just had actually a few little dry patches that, you know, not totally dry, but where they just wasn't wet enough for my liking, from how I had the bumper before. So that was the main reason for actually switching the bumper round, was so that I can get into these areas in particular, and really just make sure that there's enough clear on there that I am happy. And like I say, because this gun isn't really set up for clear coat, you can probably notice that I've slowed down a bit in my application, particularly doing the bumper. And you know, I in all honesty got the absolute results that I was after at the end, you know. So yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, you know, you take time, you look at what's happening, and you know, you make adjustments if you can. So with it being a little bit on the dry side on the first coat, you know, I knew I had to do something. I didn't struggle, but where I'm probably not used to this gun, my actual usual clear coat gun is a DV1 De Vilbis. So they're very different guns in the way that they work, but you know, as you can see, this thing actually really does pull out a nice job. So yeah, you know, the Iwatas for me at the moment are absolutely really doing me well, and I'm a real big fan. So onwards and upwards, and I hope you enjoyed this one. And yeah, you know, I'll talk about the imperfection that we had, and you know, enjoy the video, enjoy the rest of it, and you'll see some photos at the end of the rectification that we did. And yeah, cheers for watching, everybody. Hi guys, so you've just seen base and clear on this BMW Z4 that we've done. So the base coat gun that I used was actually this, which is the Iwata W300, and this is in a 1.0 setup. Now the reason I use that quite often is because the material savings are absolutely unreal. So I've just mixed up 140ml of actual paint. Obviously, whereas thinners and base coat, it works out at 280ml to do the whole job. So this is solvent base coat, not water base. So that's why you mix the paint with the thinner, which then gives you 280ml. So you can see we done the quarter panel blend into the door. There's a repair on that top section of the door as well, and a whole front bumper. Now to do 280ml of paint, or just base coat in general, is absolutely unreal. If I use kind of a normal gun just to do that bumper, I'd probably be around kind of 380, 400 probably just on the bumper, without doing the car as well. So I love that gun, really do, it's fantastic. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that one. Bit different from the others, you know, finally got the head cam back on and just went for it. So we repaired the back section of the quarter panel just before the fuel cap. It basically just had flaking lacquer and a few little dents, so nothing too bad. But the other thing I want to show you quick is I actually had a fly land in the bumper on the first coat, and just started walking as they do, But I just want to show you, you know, don't ever give up on something, because, you know, what we do sometimes isn't ideal, isn't perfect. But, you know, I know that this will look absolutely fine once it's, you know, once we get it on the car, we flatten and polish it, and you really can't even see it now that I've put the second coat of clear on. So fire it round. Can you just see here? So I've really managed to fill that in where they leave their footprints. So once that's all wet sanded and polished, that'll be absolutely fine, you know, not even worried about that. So if you do have an issue on your first coat of clear, or you know, anything, don't just give up. You know, these things can be saved. You know, experience wise, possibly that's played a part. You kind of know what you can do, what you can't do. So don't just think, oh, that's done for now, because isn't always the case. So, you know, once that's back together, I'll wet flat that probably with some 1200, 15, 2000, and just make that real flat, and you know, you will not even be able to tell what's actually happened there. So don't get me wrong, it's not ideal, we don't want that. You know, even in the sealed booth, you know, you still get flies, bugs, it happens. Unfortunately, they do get in there. This is the Z4 that we've done, which looks really nice. So again, once it's all sanded and polished, it's nice. It's a metallic black as well. The colour code is 475 for BMW. I think it's called Black Sapphire, which is quite a common one for BMW. Yeah, it is Black Sapphire. So yeah, you know, I just wanted to make this part of the end part of this video. Sorry guys, I'm really not feeling well today. Yeah, really got some bad man flu going on. Yeah, just didn't sleep well at all last night. I was up every couple of hours, nearly dying. But yeah, so I do apologise for all the coughing and, you know, sniffing. But just wanted to chuck this in at the end of this video, just to give you guys a bit of a heads up in terms of, you know, I had something go wrong, and it's knowing what to do to rectify it. And if you don't know what to do to rectify it, and you are, you know, young, possibly just starting out in the trade, don't stress about it and don't worry. Try something. You know, you can always try something. Sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. The only way you're going to learn is by messing up. You know, I used to use some fade out thinner as well. I'd normally only do it on the second coat if I needed to, but you can put like a fade out thinner on the clear as well to kind of flow out. If you can still see so where the bug walks along on the job, whatever it is, it can sometimes leave little imprints in the clear coat. As long as you can get him out without damaging the base coat, you'll be absolutely fine. And I use these little tools, can't really see them, but they're literally just fine pieces of metal almost, and they will just grab and anything kind of sticks to them, so they're really good. So yeah, as long as you get them out without damaging the base coat, usually you'll be fine. You'll be able to kind of flood them a little bit, and like I say, just wet sand it, polish it, and you know, it'll look absolutely banging. Nobody would be able to know. Like I say, I'm not saying that's the way to do it. That's not ideal. You know, that's not what we aim for ever, you know. But it happens. Not often, but it happens. So you just got to learn to deal with it, unfortunately. And if you are, you know, young, coming into the trade, don't stress. You know, do not stress about it, because if you stress, chances are you're gonna really worry yourself. and you'll probably end up messing it up even more. You know, just chill out, take your time, think about what you've got to do to possibly rectify. Just get yourself out of trouble. You know, so yeah, just don't panic. If you go into panic mode and you just think, oh, you know, that's done now, I'll have to redo that. You know, no, not always. So that's a prime example. I just wanted to show you that, and I was able to just flood it. I didn't have the camera on because I actually just went in to check the job after the first coat of clear before putting the second coat on, which is a bit of a shame really, because you guys could have really seen that, but I didn't think, to be honest. Just wanted to try and rectify the job. So I'm glad, you know, that it's actually looking okay. I managed to flood that area of clear to the point of it looks like it's just starting to run, you know, which is absolutely fine. I'll get a block on that, and you'll see. I'll post up a video or some photos or whatever at the end, you know, so you can still see that. So what side is that? That's the passenger side on the bumper. So we'll have a look at that, and you'll get to see, you know, what it looked like in the end, and how good it's going to look. And this is another thing, just having the confidence to know that it'll be okay. You know, I could stand there and say, yeah, that's going to be fine, and end up having to repaint it and not tell you guys, but that's not what this is about. You know, this is real life problems, issues, solving, what we can do. And you know, I'd rather show you that side of it rather than make it out that everything's perfect. You know, as much as we try to make everything as good as it can possibly be, you know, stuff like that happens. So we deal with it, we move on, we get better, we grow. You know, growth comes from mistakes, learning, disappointment, and kind of stepping back to have to take, you know, one step back is 2 steps forward in the long run. So I'm a great believer that you learn from your mistakes, and obviously if you keep making the same mistake time and time again, then you're not learning. So, you know, you need to learn from the mistakes if you are making them, and just keep going. You know, just keep going. I was actually watching a program last night on doctors, and this doctor had to call it quits on somebody's life, and you just think, I couldn't do that. I couldn't. I'm not that type of person. But he had to make that decision. And you know, when you go into the booth, I'm not saying it's the same by any means, but when you go into the booth, you know, there's part of it where it's done, game over, you know, you've ruined it, or there's part of it where, you know, this might just work. You know, they might have been able to do something extra on this lady's life or what, but they've probably already done what they could do. So, you know, in comparison, don't give up. You know, these guys were there for an hour, chest compressions on this lady, trying to get her alive. So if you're in the booth for an extra half hour or so, you know, saving a job, so what? You know, it's a small price to pay for actually saving a job, because nobody likes to do and have to redo things. You know, think of the cost of redoing stuff. You know, you got your booth, your gas, your time, somebody else's time maybe, paint, materials, all of that. You know, it's not cheap to do something again. So if you can possibly fix something, just try. You know, that's all I'm saying is just don't give up when something does go wrong, because unfortunately in this trade it will go wrong, no doubt about it. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it at all. You know, a lot of stuff in our trade doesn't always go to plan, but you know, the good guys at the top of their game, and you know, the fantastic people out there which are, you know, probably that much higher up the next level. These guys have probably been through it all, you know, and they probably know every trick in the book to get themselves out of trouble. So it's not a bad thing. All right, just keep going, keep learning, and grow from it. So yeah, I'll leave it at that one, guys, and hopefully you enjoyed this one. Yeah, it was just a quick one for us, so fingers crossed you like that one.